And welcome back to Two Dudes and a Mexican. Here at Blackjack Mulligan Public House in Garfield, New Jersey, where 19.99 gets you dollar mimosas, dollar mimosas, dollar screwdrivers, and a good meal. I love this place.
Yeah.
You guys should come by.
Best bar.
Best dive bar in North Jersey, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be here, coming to you live all the time. And if you want to stop by, buy us a beer, or you want us to buy your beer, we'll see what's in the budget.
Yeah.
Food is amazing.
Food is good.
amazing.
Yeah.
Food is amazing.
Gentlemen, baseball season has begun. A lot of things have transpired. The Mets are one of the early surprises, my Mexican compadre, David.
Sure. Yep.
You guys started off hot out the gate. You lost 2 or 3 to the Braves this weekend, which is fine. Your game got rained out. But tell us, what's going on? Is Mickey Callaway the Zen master in New York? No one's getting injured. There's no Terry Collins. What's changed?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things. So, by the way, I'm a diehard Met fan, so LGM, baby. Let's go Mets. But, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. Obviously, the changing of the coaching staff has been huge. Mickey Callaway, with his background in pitching and pitchers and helping develop Cy Young Award pitchers like I'm drawing a blank here, Salazar and Kluber back in Cleveland.
Yep.
I think it's big and it brings a lot to the table in terms of helping out our biggest pitchers, Syndergaard, DeGrom. I think his way of coaching too, it's a little unconventional, but you can see it's paying dividends. Like for example, sometimes when teams are supposed to be taking batting practice, you could see the Mets players not even taking batting practice, but working on field work, working on getting the ball to home plate and stuff like that. I just think it's the little things that the coaching staff has focused on: base running, working the count. I think it's just paying dividends right now. Everybody's healthy too. Well, for the most part, everybody's healthy. Obviously, our 2 starting catchers are out right now. So we have 2 catchers platooning there right now, but everybody's healthy. Everybody's trying to put in their work. And like I said, the coaching staff has done a great job in getting this team ready and pretty much instilling those fundamentals that were missing last year when everything imploded.
So it's not about the happy-go-lucky hugs that Mickey Callaway was giving
I think
out
probably
earlier.
that too, but I didn't want to mention that.
He was on the radio talking about I'm gonna hug these guys.
And that probably does make a difference. We're all humans, right? we're not just robots. We're not just.
Is he,
but
is he barely hugs for everyone?
Maybe, I don't know. That stuff you don't see.
They have emotions.
Didn't he say he wanted to hump somebody or something like that on the radio?
I don't remember hearing that. So
I think it was on
I-
WFAN. I think Kim Jones and said something about humping. I don't know. If you listen to Boomer and Carton, they replay that whole drop.
No, I remember.
About Mickey Callaway talking about humping.
Press conference and all that stuff.
I
Yeah.
like Mickey Callaway.
Again, he's unconventional. He's not your normal manager.
Yeah.
So, but again, proof is in the pudding. Results are happening, and the Mets are doing really, really good. Off to a good start. Huh?
He benched Harvey.
And he benched Harvey. He wasn't afraid to bench Harvey. Harvey's at the bullpen, so the guy has guts, and I like him a lot.
What are your thoughts on your division rivals right now? Just jumping out the gate. I know you beat them 2 or 3 this weekend.
Yeah.
And today's rained out, obviously. But what are your thoughts on the New York Metropolitans?
Well, listen, the Mets start out good for the past couple of years. Usually their injuries hit right around the All-Star game, right around the break. So we'll see if they can keep it up or if they have their usual second half nosedive. But I do like their new manager. I think that.
Wow, you like hugs too?
Yeah, I do.
All right, that's
Who
awesome.
doesn't like a hug?
I know that's gay when a guy wants to hug me.
Like I
But
said, we're all humans. No?
Exactly.
But listen, look, he seems like he's a no-nonsense type of dude. He benched Harvey, even though Harvey said before he benched him that he didn't want to go to the bullpen and he'd be upset about it. So he's not being run by the players, he's actually running them. And I think Terry Collins wanted to be too much of a players guy, so he kind of was like run over a little bit. Plus he's younger than Terry Collins, so he can relate with the players a little bit more. So I think he is making a big change for them.
let's talk about your team, the Atlanta Braves. Really good really good farm system.
Yeah.
You got the best prospect in baseball right now,
Yeah.
who's not coming up anytime soon, it seems.
Yeah.
But I think you guys started off pretty good. Your pitching staff looks okay.
Yeah.
You got some good hitters. And
Bullpen
you,
sucks.
oh, yeah, well, that's been the problem last year.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be addressed this year, it seems.
Yeah.
What do you guys need to do to actually make a run at the Nationals, who are pretty injured right now,
Yeah.
and the upstart New York Metropolitans?
Yeah, well, I'm actually a realist fan. Yes, I hope they do as well as they can this year. But from everything that they're doing, they're planning towards next year. They're going to have $80 to $90 million to spend in the all season next year. A lot of money is coming off the books. They actually traded Matt Kemp and took on more money this year so that it will be completely clear off for next year. So everything they're pointing to is toward next year. They got that number one prospect, Ronald Acuna, who's going to be in right field probably in the next 2 weeks, I would assume. And they have a bunch of pitching, loads of pitching. I really like Mike Soroka as well as Joey Wentz in their farm system. Those are two guys that they don't walk pitchers, and I'm a big person towards don't walk anybody. So I go back to the old school. I'm a pitching first person, so I always look at that. But they have a lot of good hitters on the team right now, from Dansby Swanson, Ozzie Albies, Freddie Freeman. Their hitting is very good right now. They just need the pitching to catch up a little bit, and their bullpen has been completely horrible.
How about my favorite player, Mark Hinkis?
Oh, God. Listen, the Yankee killer Mark Hinkis, I think he should probably go back to the NL East. He has played well.
AL East?
He's off to a good start. He's off to a good start.
To the AL East.
Yeah.
But he's off to a good start. He's hitting maybe about 278, I think it is, and he's an on-base machine.
He is.
He's getting on-base percentage of 370, so he always gets on base. The only problem I have with him is that he's a corner outfield with no power. And you got to have some type of power if you're a corner outfielder or a third baseman, first baseman. And he's going to hit 10 home runs a year. That's tough for me to have a corner outfielder hit 10 home runs a year.
So why doesn't he just hit up, Brady Anderson for that good stuff?
He should. I'll pay for it for him. He needs to get something. If he can hit 15, 20 home runs a year, I'm fine with him. But I can't take the 10, 12. I can't take that. I need more power out of my corner outfielders.
Well, obviously,
and Freeman needs it for help. He needs the protection in the lineup.
What is it going to take for the Braves to take the next step?
They need to add 2 frontline star pitchers. They need to trade for one, and they need to sign for one.
How come you haven't traded for them? You guys were in talks with Sale.
Yes.
Sonny Gray, who I can't stand right now.
Verlander. Yeah. Listen, I think the previous regime was afraid to pull the trigger. From everything I hear about the new GM, he's somebody who was willing to make a trade. When he was in Toronto, he helped make the trade for Tulowitzki. So he doesn't mind trading prospects, but he said he wanted to wait a year for him to do his own scouting on the prospects, not just listen to what the other people were saying.
All right, but there's a rumor going around that happened like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
There's a hashtag on Twitter, fire Freddie. Did you have a hand in firing Freddie?
I may have had a little bit of a hand in that. I actually had people...
Manager killer over here.
I literally, when I went to Atlanta,
take
people
another
came
one.
up to me and said, I want to buy a T-shirt that says Fire Freddie. Like, they really wanted me to make T-shirts.
You should have made them.
Fire Freddie.
Should have made them.
Like, I trended that every single day until
That
he
might
got
have been your
fired.
entry into the Atlanta Braves Hall of Fame. I don't
Well,
know.
listen, I'm going to start a hashtag called Fire Aaron because he fucking sucks. I mean, the Yankees, all right, they look like they're going to win 3 or 4 from the Blue Jays right now. But there's just some things that I just don't agree with him. Taking out starting pitchers that are dealing with 75 pitches, using 5 different pitchers just because the analytics say so.
The analytics.
I mean, it's ruining the game. Analytics is ruining the game. Like, it's ruining the game. Like, you don't see pitchers go 7 innings anymore. It's like 5, 6 max.
90 pitches.
90 pitches. I mean, Nolan Ryan's probably in Texas
100.
right now. He's probably shooting himself. But listen, I like what Brian Cashman did. Got Stanton.
Great GM.
Even though Stanton's a little struggling right now, but I think it's the weather. Once it gets hot, I think he's gonna get hot.
Yeah,
Aaron Judge is looking just like he did last year, top 5 player in the league. Apparently, he's not swinging at bad pitches. I mean, I don't know if it gets warmer because that's what happened last year. When it got warmer, he started swinging at everything. But he's hitting 345. So I think he's got a couple, like 6, 7 home runs, and he's just hitting the ball and he's looking better. The pitching staff is my concern with the Yankees. Outside of Severino, I don't trust anybody else. I don't trust Tanaka because Tanaka is always one twitch away from being out for 30 days. Sonny Gray can't throw strikes, and he gives you 5 innings max. I like Jordan Montgomery as a 5th starter, but he's a 5th starter. That's who he is. And then CC is just old. I like CC. I think CC's a gamer.
Yeah.
But it comes a point in time in your life
Father
where
Time,
that's
Father
it.
Time.
Father Time always wins.
I mean,
The lineup is going to do what they're going to do. But the key to the Yankees having a chance at beating the Astros will come from the rotation. And if they don't make a move, whether it be trading Clint Frazier or finding a way to get a starter back, because our outfield it's packed. You know, you got Stanton, you got Hicks, you got Judge, Gardner, Ellsbury. If he ever comes back, I hope he doesn't. He sucks. And then where's Clint Frazier for him? He has no spot.
What if we trade Utah for Frazier?
I don't want to trade Clint Frazier. Is my point.
I know that. I don't want to trade Utah either, but I think it makes sense.
But
We gotta
sometimes
hold
that's a
on
good
pitcher.
problem to have, though, isn't it? I mean, because again, you never know when you're going to have a player that goes down, or even put him on,
Well, I mean,
him on the bench.
he's got a little issue with
Never a
concussions.
bad
He's
thing.
got a
It's
little issue
never
with
a bad
concussions too. But I think he should be playing. And listen, in my opinion, Brian Cashman took the best deal available, and that was Stanton.
Yeah.
But I think, as great as Stanton is, don't get me wrong, he's a really good ball player. He didn't fit in to what the Yankees were looking to do. It just fell on them, and Cashman said, "All right, I'm gonna pull the trigger because I'm giving up. I'm giving up Devers, his cousin. You know, Devers from Boston, his cousin, and I'm giving up, a double-A pitcher who might be a 5th starter or might be just some guy in the bullpen, and I'm getting the NL MVP."
I think if any team were given that opportunity, they would have taken
They would have taken
So,
it,
yeah.
absolutely.
I mean,
But what
it'd be dumb not to.
what I think the Yankees should have done, which at this point I can't disagree with what Brian Cashman did. Machado fit into their scheme and plans more than having another outfielder.
Yep.
So we're gonna see next year if what Brian Cashman did is gonna come back to bite them, because Machado's not gonna be in Baltimore anymore.
No, definitely
So
not.
someone's gonna sign that stud, and someone's gonna get a hell of a ball player. And I thought Machado was definitely going to be a Yankee until they
I thought so too, to be honest with you. So,
And the Braves I have heard the Braves are going to make a run at it.
yeah, I think a lot of teams are. So, but once
A lot
they
of
sign
teams-
Stan, yeah, I knew they weren't going to
A
sign
lot of teams are
Machado.
going to make a run at him, but a lot of teams don't have 80, 90 million
True.
all season.
Yeah, you're right.
So they will be making a run at him.
I mean,
But
I
gotta ask a question though. Clint Frazier, I agree, should be playing. But how come then that they don't find a way to trade Hicks or trade? I understand you can't trade.
can't trade Ellsbury.
I understand
And
that his contract.
I don't want to
is
get rid
big.
of. I don't want to get rid of Gardner either. I
No,
think.
I like Gardner.
Nah, yeah.
But-
I mean, we
what
should
about
trade.
the DH?
We should trade Hicks. I mean,
That's what I'm
I don't.
Because you can have Judge, you can have Stan, you can.
You know
have
what it is?
Gardner,
You know what it is? Brian Cashman, right? A lot of people said, "Why are you signing this guy Hicks? He sucks." And then Hicks turned out to be a good ball player. So Brian Cashman was like, "Well, I'm smarter than you guys, so I'm just going to keep him on the team."
Yeah,
He should trade him
yeah.
because he's got good value.
To me, it makes no
But
sense.
in my opinion, though, I mean, this is good. They might win 3 or 4. I hope they are. And then you know what? We're only like 4 or 5 games back from the Red Sox, who got out to a blazing start. I mean, they got no hit yesterday, which is great. But it's a long season. So when I listen to radio shows and every Yankee fan is jumping off the bridge, I'm like, calm down. It's April 22.
I think the problem is
that's
the
a direct
expectation,
media.
though. What was the expectation? Let's be real here. When they signed Stanton, they
championship
thought
They'll be
that's it.
they'll be 11-8 after today. 11-8 is not bad.
No, it's not. Not at all.
But the media just jumps on anything that happens early because, listen, Mets started out 9-1, and they started talking about they're the best team in the East. I mean, best team in baseball. I'm like, we just started, like 10 games in. We're 1/16 for the went through the season. Like, you gotta relax. So,
I mean,
media does that, especially New York media.
And that's the beauty of baseball. Like you said, it's a long season.
It's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Yeah. So, but you starting out really well. That's good because you're not in a hole. You don't have to dig yourself out of a hole and then try to catch up with everybody. But if you're in a hole, it's not the end of the world either because you still got, depending on where you're at, you have all these games still
After
to get
April,
yourself out of a hole.
you still have 120 games.
Yeah, so that's a lot of time in order to dig yourself out of that hole and catch up. So, I mean, it's a good sign when your team is doing well.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's not a sprint. It's a
Like you
marathon.
said earlier about the NBA playoffs, you want to be the hot team going into the playoffs.
Yeah,
You don't want to be
definitely.
a hot team just to
Yep,
start.
that's it. All you got to do is make the playoffs. That's it. Once you make the playoffs, you're in. Your ticket's in. Again, if you're hot, and anything's possible. So,
And you know what's hot right now this week? The National Football League draft. Here in our city, the New York Giants have the second round pick.
G-Man!
The New York Jets have the third round pick. So, I mean, if I was the NFL, I would have brought this back to New York. I mean, it's going to be great TV.
I know, right now, I thought the same thing.
It'll be perfect for them.
And then we're going to be picking in Arlington, Texas, and Jerry World.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
All booze. But it's a hot topic. It's what's being talked about right now. I think this is a great quarterback class. I won't say it's on the levels of Eli, Roethlisberger, and Phillip Rivers. Might be a little bit below that. I think we'll get some stars out of this draft at the quarterback position. What are your thoughts?
Well, I've always been a proponent of not picking a quarterback high unless you fully believe in that quarterback. I don't think you ever should take a QB in the first round off need. I think you take it off of if you actually believe in him. Because if you don't believe in him, he's just going to end up being a slightly above average quarterback, and it's going to be no big deal, and it could set your franchise back 4 or 5 years. And the Giants Giants GM actually said the same thing. He said picking the wrong quarterback can set your team back 5 years. So I like the QB class. I'm a really big fan of Sam Darnold. I've had him as my number 1 QB before the year started and after the year started. Josh Rosen, I think he's a good pocket passer, but he's not as athletic as I would want. I think he can be chased down. He can be a little bit of a statue in there. Everybody on Twitter and social media bashes Josh Allen. Josh Allen has the best arm in the draft. He needs to work on his footwork, and if he can work on his footwork, which will help his accuracy out, he could end up being the best quarterback in this draft, but he's very green and needs a lot of work. And of course, everybody's favorite is Baker Mayfield. I'm a person who
I don't like him, to be honest with you.
you know,
I liked him in college,
yeah, I know.
but I don't think he's going to be a really good QB in the NFL. Because what the comparisons are going to be Drew Brees,
Yeah.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
There's very few guys that are Drew Brees.
Yeah.
There's only one Drew Brees.
Yeah.
there is.
There's no other Drew
And
Brees.
very few that can do what Russell Wilson does.
Exactly. And a lot's being put into stock of, he's a leader. I mean, he's a leader. I mean, I liked him in college because he was ballsy.
Yeah.
He took the flag and put it right in the middle.
He will change your team mentality around. Yeah.
But what does that translate? Being in that spread offense in the Big 12 where they played no defense, how does that translate to going up against, let's say the Jets pick him, going up against a Belichick defense? Let's say he ends up, somewhere in the AFC South or in the AFC West, or if he ends up in the NFC West, let's say Arizona moves up to pick him up, and he's got to deal with the Rams.
Yeah. Listen, I am not a proponent of taking Baker Mayfield as much as everybody may like him. I have a problem with I still have a problem with picking a quarterback that's short. Because you have a tall offensive line, you have tall defensive backs, you have tall defensive linemen, and you have to be able to see over them. If you watch Drew Brees play quarterback, and as you said, there's only one Drew Brees.
There's only one Drew Brees.
He almost has to be on his tippy toes looking over the line to see who he's going to throw it to. And he's perfected that after doing years and years of that. Baker Mayfield, he's not a pocket passer, so he's not going to do that. He's going to try to play more like Russell Wilson, and it's extremely hard to win the way Russell Wilson plays. And that's the reason why Russell Wilson didn't have a good year last year. If you don't have people around you and a good defense and everything surrounding you, he's not going to be successful. So he needs to be. If I'm him, I don't take him early. I take him maybe at the end of the first round, early second round. But everybody knows he's probably going to be a top 5, top 10.
Oh, I hope the Jets pick him.
I hope the Jets out. I hope the Jets pick him too.
And that's the thing. I have no idea what the Jets are going to do. Like, everybody says Cleveland Browns' top pick is either going to be Darnold or one of the quarterbacks or anything like that. Giants, everybody said if Darnold slips in, it'll be Darnold. If not, it'll be Barkley. But Jets, you really don't have an idea. You know it's going to be a quarterback. You just don't know, will it be Allen because of his arm strength? Will it be Mayfield because he can turn the team around? Will it be Josh Rosen because he's the best pocket passer? You don't really know who they're going to take of that third pick.
Well, Dave, I'm going to pose this question to you. The Browns have the number 1 and the number 4 pick. What do they do with the number 1 and the number 4 pick? I mean, I don't know.
That's a good question. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think a lot of teams are not showing their true colors or their true interests. I think some teams are trying to, make you look this way when they're really, planning something this way. Cleveland is they're an interesting team because I think they have a really good opportunity to add some really good weapons in order to make a really good team for this year. I can't see them not picking Sam Darnold, to be honest with you, for that first pick. You've heard the story already that they like Barkley also, and maybe they're just gonna, shock everybody and go with Barkley. All right, when you already have 2 great running backs already on your team, but I can't see them not picking Darnold. So I think they go QB, Sam Darnold with number 1, and depending on what the Giants and depending on what the Jets do at 2 and 3, I think that's going to depend on what they do at 4. Whoever's left, where their strategy is, what they think or who they like better at that point, they'll probably pick. So, but I can't see them passing on Darnold for number 1.
So what does that do for the Giants if they take Darnold? Because I know Gettleman, and from what we're hearing, is that it's either Darnold or Barkley. If Darnold's there, they're taking Darnold. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think definitely.
So if Darnold's not there, they're gonna say Barkley.
I know Barkley. I think definitely Barkley.
So what's your opinion on taking a running back? The analytics, and again, I hate analytics.
I hate analytics too.
But the analytics say you don't take a running back that high because the shelf life is 8 to 9 years. And someone told me yesterday, I got into an argument at the fight yesterday about what running back in the top 5 has ever led their teams to the Super Bowl, and I couldn't think of anyone. Granted, because you can't just put me on the spot like that. But anyways, do you think the Giants would make a mistake if they take a running back instead of a quarterback at number 2, or they don't trade back?
Listen. It's hard to pass up because of this QB class. It's almost as if you're thinking, man, am I passing up on the next Hall of Famer? Am I passing up on the next Drew Brees? Am I passing up on the next Aaron Rodgers, or so forth? I love if they do pick Saquon Barkley for number 2. I'll give you a couple of reasons. Number 1, when's the last time the New York Giants had a really good, solid running game, or even a good, solid running back?
2007.
All right,
2007.
It's been a long time now. So they made a lot of comparisons with Barkley. They said he's like the next Bo Jackson. Who knows?
Well, Pat Shurmur likes the running back out of the backfield.
Yep.
Catching passes. And, Barkley really excelled at that and at Penn State. Obviously, college is one thing, but, he was the best player in college football last year.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And it's not even close.
No.
And he didn't win the Heisman because he wasn't quarterback. But I think, here's my thing, I'm a little conflicted because I don't think Eli has 3 years. They're saying he does.
2 maybe.
Well, even if he has 2, are we ever going to pick at number 2 again?
I don't know.
And
Probably not.
And if not, Davis Webb is our future?
Yeah, but listen, I understand.
Davis Webb?
A lot of people.
I'd never heard Davis Webb. I never heard
Nah,
Davis
you gotta
Webb.
assume.
I don't
Yeah,
think he's
we
good.
haven't
Listen,
seen him, and you gotta assume he's not that good.
I'd never heard Davis
Or
Webb.
else we would have saw him already.
But even I
Only reason I heard Davis Webb was because Eli's getting benched, and this guy might start. But instead, they put in freaking Geno fucking Smith.
But there's a lot of controversy behind that, and of course you've heard your theories where the coach did that intentionally to make a point because him and Eli Manning didn't see eye to eye. So there's a lot of reasons
McAdoo is a
why
bum.
I
He's
think-
a fucking idiot.
and he's not here no more. And he's not here for a reason. So
I'm glad he's not. He's a bum. He got his accolades of being Aaron Rodgers' freaking offensive coordinator. I mean, I could be Aaron Rodgers' offensive coordinator. Give me a job. I'll wear a suit that fits. My hair will look nice. And I won't bench Eli Manning.
But I do agree that we haven't seen Webb in a starting game yet. And there's a reason for that. If he was that good, we would have saw him already. We would have saw him at some point, and we haven't.
And one other thing, they always say, I've been hearing people saying, like you just said, when the Giants ever going to pick this high again? You know what? If you're a bad team, then first of all, if you're a good team, then you're not really worried about quarterback right now.
True.
If you're a bad team, you can trade up, because if you're a bad team, you're probably in the top 10 already. You can trade up a couple spots.
But don't you think? Like I said, you could trade up. You could trade up in 3 years, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But don't you think you could have just taken the quarterback 3 years before?
Only if you really believe that.
So you don't think Gettleman believes in anyone but Darnold?
I don't think he does.
So if Darnold's not there, there's no there.
I don't think so. I think he's going for Barkley. I think he's going for that piece because, listen, let's be real here. Wide receiver, and they're making talk about possibly signing Des Bryant.
Oh, so bring him here.
If they bring him
Des here, I'll meet him at the 40-40 club.
I mean, with Odell, Sterling Shepard, Ingram, you got a running game. You still got Eli. I mean, that's probably going to be hands down probably one of the best offenses in the whole.
Well, that's what they said last year, though. That's what they said last year.
Yeah,
though.
but we had injuries. We had a lot of
but
injuries.
everyone said, oh, Brandon Marshall treated that big.
And you can blame the coach too. Hey, that's why he's not here. That's why he's out the door.
You blame the offensive line too. I mean, Nate
That
Solder
too,
pickup was pretty
definitely,
good.
And you're going to have 4 different starting linemen than you had to start last year.
Right. And Gettleman's known for that.
Yeah.
Gettleman's known for rebuilding lines, and look what he's done in the past. And I think, listen,
I'm just nervous because this draft is going to dictate our future.
Definitely.
Because I don't know. That if they pick a running back, and as great I think Saquon Barkley is, and if Eli's done after 2 years from now, I'm just Davis Webb. I'm a little scared.
You don't know, but I don't think you can worry about that right now.
Listen,
I think right now you gotta go for it.
I'll say this: I've heard GMs tell me this off the record. They said that they have to look at just other than quarterback, they only have to look at 3 years down the line because if they don't do their job in 3 years,
Get fired. Get fired.
So other than quarterback, they're only looking 3 years down the line. Now, if you look at the team that you just named off for next year, you're gonna have Eli Manning, Saquon Barkley, possibly Des Bryant, Odell Beckham, Shepard, Ingram, and a revamped offensive line. If Eli's done in 2 years, you could bring you into quarterback and they probably have all those weapons there.
That's a good point.
You don't have to be a great quarterback with all those weapons.
But I'm 5'10". I'm not gonna be playing quarterback.
Well, you could be like Baker then.
Like Baker Mayfield. I just think. Listen, I just think picking a quarterback at number 2, all right, is a safe. It's a safe pick. Okay, picking a running back at number 2, it is a higher risk, but it's a higher reward too. I think, especially if he becomes that special player that everybody thinks he's going to become. I think it's. I mean, I think
look at the Cowboys without Zeke Elliott. Without Zeke Elliott,
they're nothing.
They're completely not the same team.
Totally different team, and you saw it last year when he got suspended. So
when he's on that team, he changed the entire team. Look at Todd Gurley; he was practically an MVP last year.
Yep.
Well,
You're right.
let's talk about Smash Mouth football.
Whoa.
Yes.
The Tennessee Titans.
Yes.
Last year, you guys made the playoffs. You beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yep.
You played the NFL Patriots. A lot of calls didn't go your way.
With their refs.
What are you guys going to do in this draft?
Listen, from everything I've heard from within the organization, they're either going to pick pass rusher, inside linebacker, or safety. And I think it's going to be a pass rusher. The only problem that I have with pass rusher is that it seems like all Tennessee Titans fans are infatuated with Josh Sweat out of Florida State. And he's a guy who's had 2 knee injuries in the past 4 years, and his production wasn't good in college. So they're more projecting him to be good rather than him actually being good so far in college. And their GM, John Robinson, is a guy who's very heavy production. So if you look at almost all his picks over the past 2 years since he's taken over at GM, they're high production players in college. So he doesn't fit what he's picked in the past.
What's your outlook of your division? You don't know what Andrew Luck's going to be.
Yeah.
You don't know, Deshaun Watson's coming back. Deshaun Watson's a good player.
Deshaun Watson's a good player.
Beast.
I think people are.
And you still got
Oh, God.
the GOAT Blake Bortles.
Oh, God.
Who if his defense showed up, might have been playing in the Super Bowl.
Listen, if his defense showed up. Yeah, if they trusted him to throw the ball, maybe they would have made the Super Bowl
What
too.
do you mean? He had 40. He put up 42 or 49 against Ben
They
Roethlisberger.
didn't trust him to
He
throw the
almost
ball.
made that last pass, though. He almost made that pass.
Leonard Fournette ran for like 200 yards
Whoa,
before he got hurt.
Leonard Fournette. Oh, I'm gonna get hit. Never mind.
They tried to run Fournette's wheels off during that game. But the point is that within the division, I'm not afraid of Blake Bortles. They're probably going to, they may draft a
Well, you better be afraid of
Blake.
Blake Bortles facts on Twitter, because that's the best Twitter account.
That guy's probably like a 15-year-old kid who just wants to
That
like,
motherfucker's smart as hell.
He finds every Blake Bortles fact there is.
He goes, Blake Bortles ever lose to a backup quarterback in the Super Bowl? Nope.
I will say though, I think one big thing for the Titans too was releasing DeMarco Murray and just committing with Derrick
Henry, yeah.
Henry's a
Agreed.
beast.
They had to let
Henry's
him
a
go.
beast. Now you don't have to worry about that two quarterback thing. I mean a running back. You could stick with Derrick Henry, who I think is a beast.
Well,
I think he's really
they
good this
They
year.
did sign Deion Lewis. He's probably going to be in there on passing downs, but yeah,
Change of pace.
It's two different type of backs. Yeah, when you had DeMarco Murray, who I love DeMarco Murray, he did great for the Titans for the 2 years that he was there. But him and Henry are two similar runners. You have to get a fast-paced pass-catching back, and that's what Deion Lewis is. So I think that was something that is huge for them. Also getting Malcolm Butler to be a cornerback for them. So now they have two of the Patriot defensive backs along with Adoree Jackson. So I think they're doing good. They're in the right direction, and I think they're next year they can challenge to be a contender, because I think the AFC is going to come a little bit back to the pack. The Patriots, I think they should have got lost to the Jaguars. And the Steelers.
I agree, too.
Steelers should have won last year, but once again they got beat by the Jaguars. So I think those two top teams are coming back to the pack. So I think it'll be wide open next year.
We'll talk about some more wide open things in boxing after we return from our bathroom break.